A GMAT critical reasoning argument stimulus often contains some sort of plan, proposal, or prediction. To identify these, look for language that deals with something that is expected to happen, rather than having a conclusion based on something already done. Anytime the conclusion centers around a plan, a proposal, or a prediction, either the evidence is going to talk about something that happened in the past, and the conclusion is going to talk about the present, or the evidence is going to talk about something that happened in the past or the present, and the conclusion is going to talk about something that's going to happen in the future. When that's the case, the assumption is always going to be that there's no difference in circumstances. If there's a difference in circumstances between past, present, and future experience, then the evidence doesn't necessarily support the conclusion. When you encounter an argument like this, pause to consider some practical problems that may arise with the plan's implementation. Or think of a few consequential ways that things might have changed between yesterday and today. Now let's take on a question that includes the final one of these common argument patterns: plans, proposals, and predictions. Again, it's a weakened question. What's more, you know to focus on the hospital spokesperson's argument. The first step is, of course, to find the conclusion, evidence, and assumption. The conclusion comes at the end. The chemical test would have little impact on the breast cancer death rate. The spokesperson's reason for this, the evidence, is that virtually all breast tumors are detectable by self-examination. The assumption is that there's no change in conditions between self-examination and the chemical test. If there's a change, that's going to weaken the argument, and that's what you are looking for. Let's go through these answer choices and try to find one that implies there's some sort of difference. We'll start with A. Fatal breast tumors are not often revealed by self-examination until it is too late for effective treatment. Well, that certainly implies a difference. Let's hold on to that. B says breast tumors are usually discovered at an earlier stage of development than are lung tumors. Well, lung tumors are irrelevant to this question. C says mammograms are currently in wide use as a breast cancer test and cost much less than the chemical test. Well, the topic of mammograms is irrelevant. D says because men are not typically victims of breast cancer, the new test would benefit only half the population. Well, the topic of men is also irrelevant. And E says most women learn how to check for signs of breast cancer from magazines and not from doctors. Well, magazines are irrelevant as well, so A is the only one that is even within the scope of this question. It's also the one that weakens the argument, and it's the correct answer. Whenever you see a plan, proposal, or prediction in a GMAT stimulus, consider whether the plan is really feasible, and ask yourself whether there are any practical problems that the author may be overlooking. Becoming familiar with these common GMAT critical reasoning arguments is a little bit like memorizing the common right triangles and triangle side ratios on the quantitative side. Taking time to learn the patterns can help you make quick and confident work of stimuli, leading to more points on test day.